welcome back. This is an extended project of the Faber-Castell Masterclass. We're going to play a little bit with gel medium today and some gelatos to create this amazing card. Gel medium basically is an acrylic polymer that is translucent. This particular one by Faber-Castell has a semi-gloss sheen to it, but it basically doesn't have color. So you can kind of think of it as acrylic paint just without the color. So it's a great way to extend color, whether you're adding it to paint or mixing it, as we're going to today with some gelatos, to create our own interesting colors and then work onto our project with that. You can see that it's rather fluid. There are all different types of viscosities available, meaning there's all different kinds of thicknesses, and you can create some very interesting texture with it. So first off, we need a little bit of gesso on our card, and I'm going to really speed through this really quickly. I just wanted to show a great way of adding gesso to your card, and I got this tip from Piper's Mama 06. Thank you so much for telling me to use a credit card. I got a super smooth surface, and I was able to just really scoop everything up easily and put it back into my little gesso pot, which was awesome. I let this dry, and that's the base of our project. So thanks so much for that tip. Now you can see here I just have some pieces of cardboard there off to the side. It's just I just tore up one of my mailers that I got some stamps in. And I'm using one of my palette knives. This is a rounded palette knife to just kind of smash my gelato down, just really blend out the color. I'm going to add some of the gel medium to it. And you know, you can start small. You don't need to add a crazy amount. It depends on how much you actually want to paint with. We're going to actually use 3 different colors, so I'm going to be a little stingy with it right here in the beginning, but I end up adding a little more to it. And you can see we're just really mixing this well. You just want to get a nice, fluid, smooth color. So you just kind of play around with this. I actually sped this part up just slightly. In all, I think I spent a total of 3.5 minutes mixing my 3 colors. It went really fast, and you can see how beautiful the color is there. I did that. I saved that part. That first part I did full speed. And then these next 2, I'm really jumping ahead, and I'm using Nebula, which is kind of that turquoise color that you see there. And the purple is Galaxy. And these 3 colors are from the Iridescent collection. So this is really a beautiful, beautiful project. You can see here we have our 3 colors that I've been mixing. I did sped that up just so that you didn't have to sit through that. I figured you saw me do the 1. You didn't need to see me do all 3. I added quite a bit of extra gel there, and I'm just kind of extending the color a little bit and just making sure that I have enough of the medium to work with. So now I'm going to create my background. My gesso has fully dried, and I'm going to take a couple of blue gelatos and just really haphazardly just kind of throw them down onto my cardstock. I'm using Aqua Dolce and Blue Moon, and I'm also using Elderberry. And those 3 colors are just going to become a background. And once I have the colors down, I'm going to just kind of use my finger and blend them through. This is just dry blending. I'm not adding any water to this because I'm going to be adding the gel medium on top. I didn't want to add a liquid on top of something that might not have been fully dried. I would have needed to completely dry my background if I decided to do that. So just really kind of going for a random blended look there. I wasn't looking for perfection because most of this is going to actually be covered. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Dotto there to just hold my project down as I move on to adding my stencil. Anytime I work with stencils, and especially if you're going to be swiping a palette knife with color over it, you know, in essence moving your project around, you want to make sure that your base project and your stencil are really well secured. There's nothing worse than ruining a project by lifting or moving a stencil, you know, when it really didn't need to. So I'm making sure that this is secured properly and very well, even making some small adjustments. And then from here, we're going to take the palette knife. We're going to take these beautiful colors that we created. And this is a stencil by StampNation. I've been dying to use this stencil. This is a doodled heart stencil, and it's just a fun little stencil. And I thought it would look really cool with these really vibrant, rich paints. You know, gelatos, the colors are so incredibly intense. I love how rich they are. I thought that it would be kind of fun to do this and, in essence, basically creating my own acrylic paint and painting through the stencil to add this interesting look on top of my card. The thing that was really interesting is gel medium, this particular one doesn't have an amazing amount of body to it, meaning you probably can add some texture with some tools, but it dried relatively flat and it was relatively easy to work with. I made sure to scrape off as much as I could. I blended a little bit of the colors, a little here and there. I tried not to get too crazy with it because I wanted to make sure to keep some of that stardust, that really, really hot pink, and some of that nebula there, that really beautiful teal. And you can see a couple of them crossed over, and where they did, it kind of created these interesting new hues. And that's kind of the magic of using the multiple shades. Now we're going to remove some of the tape. We want to lift this off as much in one piece as we can so that we don't blur the lines. I did end up blurring a few lines right there in the middle, and then I ended up putting my piece off to the side. You can see how wet it is. It's got a real glossy sheen at this point. Once it dries, it won't be so glossy. I put it down and I ended up getting a tool right into the pink part of my heart, and you'll see that once I pull it back. Now with that part, I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper and I'm going to flip that over. Why not get two prints from one, right? Just add a piece of copy paper, burnish the back really well, can't stress that enough, because you want to transfer it and you don't want it to move either. And then you have that interesting, that's a great starting piece for something down the line. I love keeping those little pieces, and I end up using them for monoprints or something else, and you can do some really interesting pieces with that. Now I'm taking some of that great Wonderlust embossing powder that we got in our last stamp of approval box, and I'm just kind of sprinkling it down, especially over those areas where it wasn't the perfect look there. I actually used a palette knife to clean up that one little swirl there in the middle, just kind of push the paint a little to the sides. I went ahead and dried this. I dried it mostly off camera, but there you see what it looks like. And that Wonderlust, when it's dried onto those darker colors, it kind of has that goldish canary diamond kind of look, and I love it. It's so beautiful. So now that we have that, I did a little bit of embossing there. I dragged my Versamark pad kind of randomly in different spots around the edges and used some of the Gilded Gold by Brutus Monroe embossing powder. I also embossed this die cut by StampNation, and this is just a Hello die cut. I love this die cut. It's cute, it's small, it's compact, and it's that kind of scripty look. I always put a little block on top just so that they dry completely flat. I did use some of my multi-matte medium to get that adhered because it dries crystal clear. And look at that. Can you see there's like not much raised up? It's really flat. Looks so cool. I bet your mind is just reeling with all the different things you can do. But so I want you to grab some gel medium. I want you to grab your gelatos or use dye inks. There's so many different things you can tint that with, and have some fun with your stencils. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed learning how to use some interesting mediums another way, and I look forward to seeing you in another project very soon. Bye-bye.